Good Morning Uganda.
We cannot get tired of thanking you for being part of this program every weekday from the hour of 6:30 till the hour of 9. We really appreciate you being with us throughout. It is time for a Good Morning Uganda agenda, and it is our culture here. We usually have a guest in studios, and you can be part of this show directly through going to our social media platforms and sending in a message regarding the topic of the day. But once again, let me remind you of our poll question this morning. How can city authorities make inclusive policies for city management? How can city authorities make inclusive policies for city management? Well, we need your views and opinions on that on our various social media platforms, on Twitter, on our YouTube channel, but also on our WhatsApp number, that is 0709 60 2592, 0709 60 2592. You can even send an SMS and I'll be able to read them out as they come in. Now, today we are going to be discussing a very important issue and a very important decision. That is, how best will police secure Ugandans in this new year 2021? And we will be picking lessons from events that happened in the just concluded year, that is 2021. And with me on set, I'm honored to host, that is the Assistant Inspector General of Police, that is also the Chief Political Commissar of Uganda Police Force, Afande Hassan Kasinje. You're most welcome to our studios this morning.
Thank you so much, Bwana Chirabo. Yes.
Afande, very interesting things happened 2021. And of course, we know when we talk about security, police is at the forefront. 2022 is just a virgin year, very new, and you're just starting this year. Let's first of all look at some of these that shaped 2021, and we see how best then the force will be able to protect Ugandans. And what shaped 2021? One, we had issues of civil disobedience, and of course insecurity is there. And we want to kickstart it off with issues of civil disobedience, where we saw riots, police engagement, there's loss of lives. Remember the arrest of Robert Kyagulanyi, and maybe some of these may seemingly or have become the order of the day. And here many times you see the institution, which we are political commissar, people kind of coming at the limelight, talking of poor management of such incidents, not handling them very well. How best can we assure Ugandans, or what is being done to ensure that we do not have a flip over to 2022?
Thank you, Robert, and thank you again for having me here. And good morning, viewers of UPC TV. Greetings from the Inspector General of Police and the Uganda Police Force as an institution. Indeed, you're right. Last year, 2021, we had challenges of policing, and it's when we go to 2022, we need to look at those challenges. We need to take stock of what happened, and we need to learn from those experiences so that we may not repeat them in 2022. Both the institution, police institution, but also the population, our people. What are those things that you think that we should leave in the first year and we don't go with them? Starting from where you laid it, the civil disobedience. We had political campaigns. We also had elections, presidential elections, but also other elections of at different levels. And I think there are so many things that we learn. You remember, for the first time we were conducting campaigns in an environment that was that was respecting the SOPs, okay? Where for the first time we did not have mass rallies, where few number of people had, the candidates had to engage, selected but very few number of people. And some people, this didn't matter to them. They didn't want to hear that. One of the challenges, therefore, of policing was to ensure that people adhere to the stipulated SOPs. And one of the things I think we learned is that whether we have politics and campaigns and all that, but we also have a big problem like COVID-19. We must be able to respect the regulations that have been put in place to guide people. Because what are laws? What are regulations? They are put there to guide people, the conduct of people in trying to pursue a certain goal. And if this is a global pandemic, if this is a national problem, and we have all agreed that this is the way we are going to sort out the problem, amidst campaigns and amidst other programs, let's follow them. The police, the police are there to ensure that there is an environment for which all of us should be able to enjoy our rights, but within the agreed setup, like these SOPs which we had. So I think we need to reflect on that. Come 2022, COVID has not gone. It looks we are going to have COVID. We are going to be His Excellency the President has opened the economy. The economy is open, and very soon we are not going to have curfews, and everything is going to, so to speak,
seemingly go back to normal.
Go back to normal.
If all goes well.
Yes. So people must remember, look back at where we were when we had all these altercations in town, and at the same time be cognizant of the fact that COVID, we can go back. We can go back to it. So I think it's a big lesson that we learn. But there is also...
But I think before we leave that, we know these issues, even without COVID, could happen. There is where police is seen as not independent, that is one, not partial, and seen as impartial. And you remember this is where many people even labeled the institution as partisan, and that is the ruling government. Recently we even had the latest being in Kayunga, where sometimes is it excessive force? What happens to having proper rules of engagement? What happens to dialogue vis-a-vis this friction we have? Why is it that of late police seemingly appears like it is confrontational? It uses more of the artillery that you have and all that. What happened to the element of dialogue to avoid such incidents? And also this allegation that many have labeled, well, when you see police force, they are in to protect the ruling party.
Robert, you're right. I think there are so many things that we take. Much as I was talking about the public making sure that they conduct themselves within the set regulations and the guidelines and legal framework of a country, we as an institution in the police, we must also be cognizant of the rights of people and the way we conduct ourselves. I remember we were invited by the president to State House, and when we went there, he told us exactly what you're saying, is that there is a way we need to conduct ourselves, not to use excessive force. I think the law, not even thinking, the law provides the mechanisms under which the police must conduct themselves. And one of those is to use reasonable force and not to use excessive force against maybe unarmed civilians and that kind of thing. And not talk to them, you know, in a way that angers people. You see people are agitating for something. And once they're agitating and you also, you know, you're making them agitated, that doesn't solve the problem. We are also learning from those past mistakes and to make sure that we make policing not people not to see us, as you say, that we are partial. You brought in the Kayunga. I think all these are carried from what we're talking about. You remember during the the civil unrest in Kampala, we lost so many lives. We shouldn't be losing those lives, okay? We also had many injuries. Personally, as CPC, I was in hospitals, I was in people's homes. There are still homes which I still visit. And I also get touched as a person. I have taken a responsibility to make sure that I visit all units in the country. I have been to Teso region, I have been to Western Nile, I have been to Masaka, I have been to all these places talking about the same thing, to make sure that much as we can be confident and robust at our work, but at the same time respecting the rights of people. But we also need to do much in terms of sensitization, in terms of mobilization, in terms of education to the people, so that every activity that we engage in, we should do enough of these ones, okay? Once we have done them, there are people who are going to cross the line, but at least they would have been told that this is what is going to do. It is something that we take, and it is something that we are going to do seriously, to take stock, to make sure that people are always. Do you remember when we started COVID-19 operations? Women who are carrying, Memvo and that kind of thing, being beaten, you're on a border, somebody strikes you and you fall down, and the passenger falls down and that kind of thing. As we continued, we stopped that. And that angered. So if we need to reclaim the confidence, the trust, and the mutual benefit that takes place between the police and the members of the public, and to make sure that the image also, you see, policing goes with the image. Politics comes and the image goes down later on, even when you emerge from it and you are policing, normal policing. People still harbor this.
The mentality, yes.
And it makes work very difficult. So I agree with you that these accusations were there of being of not being impartial, but I can assure you that it is a lesson we learned, it is a bitter pill that we swallow, and that we are going to make sure that we start from internally. And that's why CPC has to move to units and talk to units, and political commissars being told, because each unit has a political commissar. And we also have community policing, a CRO, a community liaison officer, to make sure that we engage our officers, we keep on talking to them. We also engage civic leadership. We also engage leaders of these organizations, even political parties, and talk to the youth, talk to the young people, and tell them that this is not where our country should go. Yes, you have an issue in Kayunga like it was, but please do it within the mandate of the law. Yes.
Also, one of the things that we are looking at issues of insecurity. We are coming from a lockdown, partial lockdown, and we are opening the economy. Among the fears are when we finally lift curfew. And we had sporadic issues of insecurities here and there. We had the Panga Wilders, that was in Masaka, which was also for almost a whole month, every day reporting death. People are wondering what is security up to. But we are not yet confident that now we are away from the bomb scares and such issues of insecurity. 2022, so much activity coming up. Afande, looking at lessons learned, because we are comparing the two, what are some of the measures you're putting in place to ensure or guarantee safety of Ugandans regarding such forms of insecurities?
When you look at the insecurity that took place in Masaka, there are many lessons that have been learned. Our intelligence gathered a lot of information that we need to do. You also remember that we did a lot of community mobilization. The jointness that we had between the forces, the UPDF, the police, the intelligence, and of course the civil leadership, civic leadership that we had. And of course the terror threats that we had, including the recent double twin, call them twin, bombing at CPS and along here, along Parliamentary Avenue. It is, there are many lessons that to learn, and a lot of things that the police are going to do. I think one of the things that we shall take forward, again, is to make sure that we go out to the public and keep on reminding them and keep on telling them that terrorism didn't only occur in 2021. It can come back. So we need to not to sit on our laurels. We don't need to relax. We need to continue education, sensitization, every institution to make sure that they understand these issues of terrorism. Sometimes I go around and you go to a mall like Rugogo Mall, and all security, officers that are around, including private security organizations, they only have a sanitizer. So you come, they sanitize you, and you move. If you're going to the bank, you reach at the gate of the bank, and they sanitize you, you wash your hands, and you go in. And some of us are like, no, hold on. Is that what you are supposed to do alone? Yes, sanitization is very important. COVID-19 is a worst scenario. But don't forget to check me. So everybody listening to me, our children are going back to school. Bars are getting open. Do you know what would happen if somebody sneaked in something in a bar? These places are very, very, very congested and
there's a lot of dangerous equipment there.
And the exits are not many. So we need to continue understanding that the threat to security and that our enemy is out there lacking.
But what drastic measures have you taken? Afande, when we talk about reopening of the economy, now schools are going to reopen. Of course, in my opinion, it creates more fertile grounds for insecurity. Bars are going to be opened. 24th may not be very far from now. So what drastic measures? That
was the number one. Number one measure was education, sensitization, mobilization, for everybody to keep on knowing that there is a problem or there was a problem and we need to. The second one is that for us, one of the things that we do is to make sure that we have intelligence-led operations. Okay? We may not have the liberty and the leisure to have a policeman at every home, a policeman at every street corner and that kind of thing. But one of the things that we can do, apart from people understanding what they need to do, the other thing is to make sure that we are guided by information and intelligence, so that our deployments and our operations, okay, are led by what we know, okay, what has been informed and what has been what we decipher from that information. Intelligence is something that has been received, and we are maybe 90% sure that there is going to be this and this and this problem. That is number two. I applaud the government on the policy of the parish model. Okay? The parish model, to me, is going to help us so much, and in dealing with the issues like it happened in Masaka. I was in Masaka, as you know, the whole exercise. I was a support force to those who were operating by going around, by mobilizing people, by telling them, by sensitizing them. You know, there were all sorts of people, theories and talking about what. So you need to detoxicate. You need to make people aware that this is the problem, this is how we are dealing with it. Okay? So the parish model is going to help us to have police, a sizable number of police officers at a parish.
How is the connectivity there? Because this is aimed at eradication of poverty.
No, the security. You cannot talk about poverty without security. Yeah, because if somebody's cow,
more deployment at parishes, because maybe one of, I think, the fourth factor of it, money would be coming.
Let me explain it to you. First of all, poverty, alleviation, and security are intertwined.
Okay.
You cannot have your cow being taken and your crops, you know, vanilla is taken from the field and, you know, that kind of thing. And you think that the two are not intertwined. They are. But what is guiding us is that we must have a model where you have, for example, 30 police officers in a parish. Okay? If you have them, then it means that you have people who are going to be patrolling, so we need visibility. Visibility is very, very important. But not only visibility, but also people must know that there is a link there between the force that I'm talking about and the police station. Every police station must have a counter number. And anybody who sees anything, anybody who has seen a criminal or anybody who has been attacked calls the counter number. Now, the person who is attending to the counter communicates by radio, because now we are getting rid of these mobile phones and people forget and they go on WhatsApp and that kind of thing. So they communicate to the force that quickly reacts to the incident. Now, this is where the model is important, because you have quick reaction force. This is a multiplier, a kind of a multiplier force, because the multiplier force is the population and those who are acting quickly. And I can tell you, if we can act within 5 minutes, and we reduce from the 15 minutes, because the average is 15 to 20 minutes. If we can reduce that, and people see the police reacting quickly, but not only reacting, but they can be informed and they preempt to prevent before something happens. If people are going with jambias and they are going to maybe cut somebody and they are stopped within their tracks, then it means that this model we are talking about, people are secure, people know government is with them, people can be productive, and this is something that we are putting a lot of emphasis.
Afande, well said about a quick reactive force, but also your institution has been criticized by the public for lack of proper priorities in terms of deployment. And maybe sometimes this has been a challenge, where you would find, I want to use the word VIPs, that at one time there was a daily, I know you read about this, that gave how many officers that are meant maybe to protect a sub-county. You'd find that these just go maybe to judicial officers. So how are you going to prioritize? People will tell you when you call police, it is easy if you called them and told them there is a thief and the mob is upon this person, police can react, more than when you tell them there is a thief coming. Or a thief breaking into someone's house, please, we need immediate response. So let's look at priority in terms of deployment to have this force you're needing, because I believe internationally it is 1 police officer for 500 people. And here in Uganda, when you look at our ratio, I think it is 1 police officer for maybe 1,000 or plus. I stand to be corrected.
We have gone a little bit down because now we are 53,000. If you say we are about 40 million, so we're talking about 1 police officer to about 750 or something like that. Okay, less than 800 now. It's impressive, but we can go to 500.
Prioritizing your deployments, which has been criticized, with the limited force you have.
I think it is important, Robert. It is important to prioritize the deployment. If you discern from what I was saying, I was saying that deployments must be intelligence-led. Operations must be intelligence-led. Any force that does not have intelligence, I don't understand it. What are you doing? So it must be intelligence-led. And from the model, I've talked about the sub-county model and the parish model that we're talking about, then it means we are going to leverage on that one so that we have deployments that are focused on the problem. Not just simply put on uniform and you go out there. Even here in town, if we are going to have patrols, whether these are motorized vehicles and motorcycles, even when you are going to have foot patrols, these must be guided. Now, when it comes to this VVIP, it is something that we have discussed with the Inspector General of Police, and we want to make sure that we there is, Robert, I don't know how I can explain to this. This is my take. When you see members of the public, including the VIPs, anybody who thinks is a VIP, clamoring to have somebody to escort them and whatever, it is an indictment that we are not safe. Okay?
I beg to differ from you. And this is my opinion, like you said. For example, we have socialites in this country. We have so many would-be police officers protecting the public, guarding people. I don't want to mention names, but there are some you easily wonder. I come from a place called Machindi, and there you find so many people, almost everyone. Who are you? So
why do they want to have them?
I think police, you're being either exploited, that these people for prestigious reasons. You find one person who will tell you maybe something, and six behind, and you're like, look, these are enough to guard Mubarak, a village where I come, even if you gave them to us. But 6 following one person, you find a socialite boasting around, where is my guard? I don't think it's priority. We are doing the right thing.
It fits well in what I was saying. So me and you, we are not we are not different from
at the expense of many.
The perception. I was starting to say that if you are going to see people, everyone is always being escorted by somebody and that kind of thing. I see it on the streets. Everybody lights, everybody sirens, and whatever. What is happening? So we must make sure that we have many people out there protecting the communities in forms of patrols, in forms of motorized foot, motorcycles and that kind of thing of patrols, than having 6 people on Kasinje and showing everybody that I'm important. But there are those who are VVIPs who need protection, and those ones we must protect them. That's why we have a VVIP protection force. But we are also very mean. Very mean. I can tell you. You just don't go to the direct operations and you say, I want a policeman. Why? And we are also reviewing those who have them. You cannot have policemen. You have 3 homes. 2 policemen in one home, 2 policemen in another home, 2 policemen in a farm. No. We are reviewing this, and we want to make sure that we provide our VVIPs to people who should have them, not everybody to do that. And I think once we have done that, then we are releasing as many officers to go out and protect people on a larger scale.
Well, just remind our viewers that you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning by simply going on our various social media platforms. That is, we also have a WhatsApp number which you can use, which is 0709 60 25 92. Send us an SMS, send us a WhatsApp message. Even on our Twitter handle, you can send in a message and I'll be reading them out to the Chief Political Commissar of Uganda Police, that is Inspector General Assistant Inspector General of Police Hassan Kasinje, whom we are hosting this morning. We need your views. 2020 is still a virgin year, and we are seeking for assurance from police on issues regarding security and policing, the safety of Ugandans this year. Please send them in, and we'll be reading them out. Now, Afande, also a very big issue. We talked about having more and better intelligence-led operations. Last year, there's been a belief and a situation where one murder happens, 30 are arrested. One murder happens, 40 are arrested. And people have been wondering, we can't be more proactive, but also we can have these arrests that are intelligence-made. In one way or the other, this has also created lack of trust within the public, and some coming up to assume, even if they wanted to give relevant information, they'll tell you, police because they believe, how are we going to have better way of doing things? Because we are wondering, has it been less of intelligence? Do you first, okay, we believe there is vetting when you arrest that huge number, then they are vetted. but also in one or the other.
By the way, Robert,
professionally,
I want to defer. Robert, I think we've come from that situation you are talking about, and it's not that we just arrest people en masse and we put them at the police station.
Can a murder of one person and have 50 people contribute to that?
Let me give you an example. Okay. The murders in Masaka, as a region, you know the murders that took place there, and you know the problem that we had there. At the end of the day, how many people did we arrest? And we pinpointed on the people that had committed those that heinous crime, and we took them to court. Okay? We didn't have 100. We didn't have 200 or 300. That is an operation that would have even had 300 people if what you were saying actually happened. Okay? So 20-something people arrested and taken and taken to court. Okay? If you look at the terror threats here, we went for the people who planned, we went for the people who actively participated in planting the bombs, we went for the people who maybe facilitated. And you and I know that this was not a crowd. These were specific people. Now, if an organized crime like terrorism is going to have 30 people, you are not going to say, let me arrest 10 so that people don't see me as if I'm arresting many. I think the folly is arresting somebody who is not involved. But arresting someone who is involved, even if they were 30 and we arrest 30, what's the problem? So, I have not seen people just only being arrested for the beauty of arresting. There must be something. And by the way, even after investigations, if it is found that you were not involved, you will be released. We have seen people who have been released. Robert, you know that. You know that the police suspected Kasinje to have done this, but later on, Kasinje is released. And what we have in courts, and I can assure you, is that the DPP has reviewed this case and has sanctioned this case, okay? And that tells you that there is another institution of government that looks at who is being taken to court. Who is this person that the police is taking to court? And if you have those checks and balances and knowing that, yes, it has been sanctioned, which means there is prima facie evidence in there, then I don't see where the problem is. The problem may come if you don't go to court and produce evidence and ensure that this person is convicted. I think that's where the problem would be. If somebody is arrested, taken to court, evidence is there, why do we even have to take 1 year or 6 months? Bring the evidence, and we shall bring that evidence and make sure that somebody is either convicted or is set free if there is if the evidence is, these are judicial processes. So the thinking that the police go out there and arrest everybody, they don't understand what they are doing, I think now we are becoming more smarter in doing that, in making sure that...
in relation to that, Afande, let's also look at the investigative mechanism of Uganda police. We know crime is getting sophisticated every day. There is now the internet, so crime is getting sophisticated. But let's look at many of these cases delay in courts. And one of the things I've always had some judicial officers saying is poor investigations. We don't know what 22 holds, but of course every day there is a new crime developing. How are you equipping and strengthening the CID, the investigative mechanisms to ensure, one, cases are dealt with? Because I believe if evidence is there, why would it take a judge 2 years to handle this case on that?
Yes, it's important, Robert, that we must have a criminal investigations department, directorate, that is very well equipped, but also the capacity, the human capacity, the training. Yes, we've tried to do that. Last year, if I can recollect very well, I think we had 2 training programs of the CID and intelligence at Kabarye Police Training School. But we also need to do internal training at police stations to make sure that our officers, our detectives are committed to that case. Leave alone that, there is something that is coming that is now in CID, which I applaud. I applaud the director of CID for this. And this is case conferencing. In Uganda, we normally have somebody who is an investigating officer, an IO, and you find that a case may be there's one person who is looking at that case from A to Z. That's wrong.
Is it to compromise?
Yeah, that's wrong. No, not even compromising, but this person may not have the capacity to do each and everything. Okay? So what happens now is that there is a squad. First of all, the CID is organized in squads. Those who are handling murder cases don't handle crime. Don't handle fraud cases. Those who are handling land issues do not need to handle issues to do with media crimes. So you have different, and that is important, because you have maybe 10 detectives in a particular, like terrorism, a particular crime like terrorism, and you make sure that they put their heads together on that. But there is also case conferencing. The OCCID in a station or at a region, they will bring the different, people with different capacities, and they sit and they look at this file. What has been done? What has been achieved? What needs to be achieved? Who is going to do it? You understand? At the end of the day, you are improving the quality of the investigations of that file. I think that is the third area that we need to focus on more and ensure that once a case has gone to court, it's watertight. You have watertight evidence. Maybe the fourth one is to make sure that there is a quick link and closed link at stations and districts. I've been moving around in the country. Sometimes you go in a district and you find that the resident state attorney is covering about 4 districts. You understand what I'm talking about? You go to Teso, you find the resident state attorney, including a magistrate of Katakwi, is the same magistrate that goes to Amuria, the same magistrate that goes to Kaperebio. So, failure to have convictions and whatever may not be on police alone. I agree, a big percentage on the police. But we also need to look at capacitating courts, not only courts, but also the directing of the prosecutions, so that we need each district to have a resident state attorney, so that they can keep on advising on the level of investigations that you have. Robert, if you have those 4 areas, I'm telling you, it is very easy to improve the level of investigations in this country and getting more convictions and sentences.
Well, let's take a look at some of the feedback from our audience. Good morning, UBC. Emma from Mbale. I love this Afande and his views are very objective. The only problem is that such people are in a wrong country is just too good for militarized police of Uganda. That is his view. Then we have, good morning, I'm Andrew Mwonda from Mbarara Mukono. Which plans are those of Afande Kasinje having for wrongdoers who are calling police for help, yet they waylay and end up killing men in uniform because it was prompted in December and November? Good morning, presenter. I'm asking Mr. Hassan, what happens to stations without patrol vehicles? A case is Buroba, Mitiana Road. The vehicle was written off and no new one was sent. In case of any rescue, we cry for civilians to help us.
Okay.
Good morning, Robert. Thanks for the program. My concern is road traffic accidents. Several times police have come up with policies on road safety. For example, use of speed governors. Police has never taken this serious. Thanks, Alfred from Mbale. We have another one coming in from Mike Agago, Jumbo, Uganda. Police is good, but they always come after the problem has occurred, like the way it happened in Patong, but between
Patong.
Acholi
Yeah.
and Baganda in Patong. I'll read a few now. Thank you for the program. The law says a person who is suspected to have committed a crime should be investigated before arresting. But it's the opposite in Uganda, and most of the arrests is done by SFC, not police. Does it mean that police is powerless? Well, I'll just take one final one. Afande, atuyambe ku polisi ye Bulanga. Bulanga, I didn't get you.
Bulaga?
Bulaga, yes, police of Bulaga.
That is Bulaga. Anyway, maybe we can summarize them like this. They are people who have talked about police getting to the scene late. They have also talked about, so let me go back to what I've said, that we need to have a quick reaction force. We need to make sure that we arrive at the scene very quickly if at all a case has been committed without us knowing that some people are planning to do something. So we need to react quickly. I think that takes care of those who are talking about, something happening, and then the police take long to react to that. By the way, it is something that we are passionate about. It is something that we are cascading in our operations, in our nature of operations, to make sure that we react quickly. Let me also add, because CCTV, the CCTV architecture and or infrastructure that we have, once it has even been covered the whole country. But even when we still have the first, second phase, it means it is also going to help. It is no longer doing a post-mortem of a CCTV footage, and then this is what happened. No, it should be CCTV, what is it showing you, and how do you react? So when I talk about quick reaction, I'm talking about people calling the police, but also what is the police seeing, and that is going to
be more proactive.
Yes. On the issue of the vehicles, our chief of joint staff and there's a committee that was put there by what we call our policy advisory committee, chaired by Inspector General of Police, to look at all vehicles that we have that are not operational, that are not moving, and make sure that they have been put right. Our people in the Force Transport Office are doing whatever they can do to make sure that those vehicles are put back on the road and sent to the stations. So Bulova and other places that we don't have these vehicles, really we are at it, we are doing that.
Then one talked about the arrests. Here you first arrest, then investigate. And also talked about the people carrying out the arrests, alleging that it's now SFU, making it, are you powerless? More operations are being done by not the police force.
Maybe you could have helped us by telling us someone who was arrested by SFC. Or who are those being arrested by SFC. It is easier said, it is easier to say it than even to give examples where it has happened. I think that should not divert us. The question should be, do the police carry out, what was the first part? You should first investigate. We carry out investigations and then yes, arrest. I agree. The police should carry out investigations and have evidence, arrest somebody and take him to court. But there are cases that don't need to wait for that. If, for example, somebody has been arrested committing an offense or about to commit an offense, you don't say, okay, I suspect you are going to break this shop, but I need first to go back and investigate and find out if you, then I will come for you later. So
you apply that, that is detect and prevent crime.
You arrest the person there and then. And in cases like terrorism, issues of terrorism, as you've said, crime is sophisticated. Crime is committed by the push of a computer button like this. And it goes and can be multiple throughout the whole world. I was in Interpol, director of Interpol, so I understand what I'm talking about. Now, there are crimes like terrorism, okay? There are crimes like piracy on lakes. There are crimes like trafficking in... Please, you have to be as quick as possible if you have to stop the speed at which crime is being committed. I think the problem would be, Robert, I know your time. The problem would be, if I have arrested you, suspected you for having committed an offense and have arrested you, the 48-hour rule must be there, or I take someone to court. I think that is where we need to focus on, to reduce the time under which somebody is under arrest and take him to court. I think that's the most important thing.
I found in the interest of time, I just want to thank you for your time, but also in your concluding remarks, I don't want you to leave without mentioning corruption. Let that be among your concluding remarks. And you've just opened a can of worms when you talked about a person being arrested and 48 hours they appear before court. Right now, we know an incident where you accepted that you have someone in your custody and the lawyers of that particular person are even filing from court to court to have that person produced. Let's have your concluding remarks.
My concluding remarks, if you remember, I know you follow me on Twitter.
Definitely.
My first tweet of the year was that this year is going to be my year where we are going to fight corruption within the police. Okay. You remember the tweet? And thank you for giving me this platform, so that my concluding remarks are on that. That my fellow police officers, wherever you are, your mandate is to make sure that you serve the citizen of Uganda. And in serving the citizen of Uganda, do not do it with self-aggrandizement. Do not go and take bribes. Do not go and be corrupt, because when you do that, you are facilitating crime to increase. I think one of the things that we must do and give as a gift, because we have been put in this uniform with a lot of respect by the people of Uganda who expect, and a lot of expectation. So my colleagues who are there, who are watching me, please, let's have zero tolerance to corruption. The population that are seeing me, it is easier saying the police are corrupt than you yourself counting yourself that I must be part of those that are not going to have a corrupt police. Why do you give a bribe? I think corruption, the bribery and corruption takes two to tango. So even you who are out there, do not give instead inform us. You say, the DPC of this district is about to he has asked me a bribe, and you call. And we've been giving our numbers, and we shall continue to give those numbers. So my concluding remarks is that let's make this year a very, very, very security conscious year, but also make sure that we are safe and secure wherever we are. I implore the police to serve the people of Uganda, but I also implore the police, the public, to work hand in hand with us so that we can make our country safe and secure. Well, thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thank you so much, Fande Hassan Kasinje, who is the Assistant Inspector General of Police, but also the Chief Political Commissar of Uganda Police Force, for having phone time. We've touched a number of issues, but he's assured us of a very peaceful year 2022 if only we cooperate with police. There are lessons learned in 2021, like he said, and police is going to ensure that they do not repeat similar mistakes. But also you, the public, you have a responsibility to be a law-abiding citizen. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow. Ensure if you're not yet vaccinated, go get vaccinated. If you're above 50 and from the last date you got your vaccination, 6 months have passed, please go and get that booster job. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow.